Welcome to our channel. Step into the world of ultra-rare Washington quarters, where ordinary change transforms into extraordinary treasures that collectors dream of finding. Make sure to watch till the end to uncover the full story behind these incredible coins. Let's begin today's lineup with a coin that seems ordinary at first glance but becomes much more interesting once you know its background. The coin in focus is the 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark. Almost everyone in America has handled a Washington quarter at some point, whether in change at a store, tucked inside a coin jar, or sitting quietly in a collection of loose coins at home. But when you look closely at this particular year, you realize it represents a unique chapter in U.S. coin history. The story of the 1967 quarter begins in the middle of the 1960s, a time when the United States Mint was facing challenges it hadn't dealt with before. The price of silver had been rising sharply, and by 1964, the intrinsic metal value of silver coins was approaching and sometimes even exceeding their face value. As a result, people began pulling coins out of circulation, hoarding them, and in some cases melting them down for their silver content. This created a serious shortage of coins for everyday use. The Mint had to respond quickly, and the solution came in the form of a new composition. Starting in 1965, quarters were no longer struck in 90% silver. Instead, they were made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core and outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This change ensured that the cost of producing coins would remain below their face value. But the transition wasn't only about composition. In an effort to stabilize the coin supply and reduce speculation, the Mint also decided to remove mint marks entirely from coins struck in 1965, 1966, and 1967. That's why the 1967 Washington quarter stands out. When you look at it, you'll notice the absence of a mint mark, which normally would appear to the right of Washington's hair ribbon. For someone not familiar with the story, it may look like a design oversight, but in reality, it's the result of a deliberate policy decision by the Mint. This detail alone makes the 1967 quarter a time capsule of a very specific period in American coinage history. The design itself carried forward the Washington quarter tradition. The obverse shows the familiar portrait of George Washington, first introduced in 1932 by sculptor John Flanagan. The word liberty arches above Washington's head, while "In God We Trust" rests to the side, and the year 1967 sits prominently at the bottom. On the reverse, we find the heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, standing on a bundle of arrows, and framed by olive branches. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum surround the eagle, while quarter dollar identifies the denomination below. At the time, nothing about this design seemed unusual. For everyday Americans, it was simply the quarter they used for bus fares, vending machines, parking meters, and grocery stores. But decades later, collectors began to pay closer attention to coins from this era, and they noticed something remarkable. Because the Mint struck hundreds of millions of these clad quarters, most entered circulation and endured years of heavy use. That means that high-grade, well-preserved examples of the 1967 quarter are not as easy to find as people might think. Condition plays a huge role in the value of this coin. A quarter that has been through years of pockets, purses, and cash registers will usually show dull surfaces, scratches, and a loss of sharp detail in Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers. These coins remain common and worth little more than face value. But when you come across one that has been carefully preserved, showing strong luster and little to no wear, the story changes. Collectors quickly recognize how rare it is to find such a piece from this year. Another element that makes 1967 quarters appealing is the existence of special mint set coins, often called SMS quarters. Because regular proof sets weren't produced during this period, the Mint issued special mint sets instead. These coins were struck with more care than standard circulation strikes, often displaying smoother surfaces and a satin-like finish. While not quite proofs, SMS coins represent a higher level of quality than ordinary circulation strikes. Collectors prize them for their clarity, and when preserved in top condition, they stand out significantly. In addition to condition and SMS examples, errors from this year also attract strong interest. With such a massive mintage, mistakes were inevitable. Collectors have discovered examples with double-die obverse, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets. Each of these errors transforms a regular 1967 quarter into something far more desirable. Even a small misstrike can make the coin a standout piece in a collection. When it comes to the market, the difference between an average circulated 1967 quarter and a top-quality one is dramatic. Most circulated examples are worth just a small premium, maybe a few cents or $1 to collectors who want a type coin. But the rarest examples, those with pristine preservation and superb strikes, become the centerpieces of auctions. Collectors compete for them, knowing how few exist in that level of perfection. One such coin proved just how valuable the 1967 quarter could be. At auction, a 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter in nearly flawless condition sold for an impressive $135,000. That price reflects the combination of rarity, condition, and demand that can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into a treasure. The next rare coin in our journey takes us to the year 1987, and this one is a true standout for collectors who understand the value hidden in details that most people overlook. It's the 1987 Washington quarter struck at the Philadelphia Mint, carrying that subtle P mark. At first glance, it may appear just like any other quarter from your change, but the deeper you look, the more you realize why it stands as a treasure in the world of numismatics. What sets this coin apart is not simply its age but its scarcity in high-grade conditions. Many of these quarters entered everyday circulation, passing through countless hands, vending machines, and cash registers. That heavy use means that very few survived in pristine, untouched quality. Collectors know that condition is everything, and with the 1987 P quarter, finding one with sharp luster, strong strikes, and minimal marks is incredibly uncommon. The year itself is also interesting. By 1987, the Washington quarter had already become a staple of American currency, widely recognized for its iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse. Designed by John Flanagan decades earlier, this design had seen millions of strikes across the country. But coins from this period, while common in circulation, didn't always receive much attention. They were produced for everyday use and rarely set aside at the time by collectors. That's why today, coins that have survived in flawless condition are seen as rare jewels in a sea of worn pieces. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of these coins, but only a fraction have endured in grades that would impress serious collectors. That combination of mass production and scarcity at the highest quality levels is what drives demand and value. And it's precisely this paradox, being both common in numbers and rare in condition, that makes the 1987 P quarter so fascinating to those who seek it out. Rarity in the coin world isn't always about low mintage numbers. Sometimes it's about survival. The 1987 P quarter is a prime example of how coins can be common overall but exceptionally rare in the kind of condition collectors dream of owning. When a specimen surfaces that shows full detail on Washington's portrait, strong edge definition, and clean fields free from distracting marks, it becomes more than just a coin. It becomes an asset. It's no longer just a piece of change but a historical item that tells a story of endurance. Each flawless example that comes to light represents decades of careful preservation, whether by chance or by design. That's part of what excites collectors, knowing that a coin like this could have easily been lost to time, worn down to nothing, but instead has survived as a gleaming reminder of its era. Collectors often seek these coins not just for their rarity but also for what they represent. A high-grade 1987 P quarter captures a moment in history when designs and minting standards were evolving and when coins were still expected to endure daily use. That is why examples that have been preserved untouched feel so special. They highlight what's possible when a seemingly ordinary coin beats the odds of circulation. Stories like these inspire collectors to keep searching through rolls, jars, and pocket change. Because every so often, someone discovers that the quarter they once thought was just spare change is actually a rare survivor worthy of a collector's showcase. That thrill of possibility fuels the passion of numismatics, where history and chance meet. And once such coins reach the auction block, their true worth becomes clear. Collectors know they are not just buying a coin. They are buying a piece of history, a symbol of rarity, and a trophy of survival. Bidding wars erupt because only a handful of examples can truly stand at the top, and everyone wants to own one of those elusive gems. One such quarter, preserved in exceptional condition and graded at the highest level, stunned collectors when it came up for sale. The competition was fierce, the anticipation was high, and as the final hammer fell, the coin achieved an extraordinary result, selling for $74,000. This figure highlights more than just the rarity of the coin. It reflects the dedication and passion of collectors who are willing to invest heavily in perfection. It shows that even coins we often overlook in our daily lives can hold remarkable value when they have survived decades without losing their original beauty. For those who witnessed the sale, it was a reminder that history is tangible. Coins like this 1987 Washington quarter are not just metal and design. They are stories of endurance, of countless hands that never damaged them, and of the luck and care that allowed them to survive. The 1987 Washington quarter reminds us that rarity isn't always about how many were made, it's about how many have endured the test of time in exceptional condition. It encourages collectors to look closer, think deeper, and value the details that many overlook. So, the next time you glance at a quarter in your pocket, remember, it might look ordinary, but hidden within could be a rare treasure. And while most coins may remain everyday change, every now and then, one will rise above, commanding attention, admiration, and yes, astonishing value. Up next, we journey into the world of quarters with a piece that seems ordinary at first glance but has captivated collectors for decades. The 1990 Washington quarter from the Denver Mint, marked with a subtle D, carries more than just metal. It carries a story of survival, rarity, and enduring appeal. While it might look like the coins jingling in your pocket, seasoned collectors know that the true magic lies in the details that most people overlook. At first sight, the familiar portrait of George Washington doesn't raise eyebrows. Yet, what makes this quarter remarkable is its state of preservation. By 1990, quarters had already been produced in enormous numbers, circulating freely across the nation. Millions passed through cash registers, vending machines, and everyday transactions. Most wore down over time, their luster faded, details softened, and surfaces marred. But a handful of these 1990 quarters escaped that fate, surviving decades with their brilliance intact. What sets this coin apart is not its age, nor merely its mint mark, but the fact that it exists in grades that collectors covet. Finding one that shows crisp lines, flawless surfaces, and strong detail on Washington's face and the reverse eagle is an achievement few experience. These quarters are the rare exceptions, coins that refused to succumb to circulation and instead preserved their original beauty for decades. Collectors often describe the thrill of discovering a high-grade coin as uncovering a hidden treasure in plain sight. Imagine sifting through rolls of quarters, many worn beyond recognition, and spotting one that gleams with near-perfect detail. That excitement is amplified with the 1990 a coin whose survival in pristine condition is incredibly scarce. It isn't just about numbers or mintages, it's about finding a piece that has truly stood the test of time. The design itself is timeless. George Washington's stoic portrait on the obverse, paired with the heraldic eagle on the reverse, has been familiar to Americans for generations. Yet in this coin, that familiar imagery comes alive when paired with exceptional preservation. Each line, each feather, each edge strike tells a story of careful crafting and careful survival. It is these qualities that elevate the coin from a simple piece of currency to a coveted collectible. High-grade examples of the 1990 Washington quarter are extremely limited. While millions were produced, very few have survived without blemish. Collectors prize them not only for their condition but for the story they tell, a coin that beat the odds, avoided decades of wear, and emerged as a shining representation of its era. Owning one is like holding a piece of history that has endured against all expectations. This quarter appeals to collectors on multiple levels. It represents the art of minting, the evolution of American currency, and the patience required in the world of numismatics. Each exceptional example is a lesson in perseverance, not just of the coin itself, but of the collectors who spot its value and preserve it over time. And then there is the allure of the unknown. You never know when one of these quarters will surface. It might be tucked away in an old coin roll, stored in a family collection, or even forgotten in a jar of change. That possibility keeps collectors searching, examining, and studying every detail, knowing that the next discovery could be something extraordinary. Through the years, high-grade specimens of this coin have emerged at auctions, captivating bidders and collectors alike. When such a quarter appears, it draws attention not because it's from 1990, but because it is almost flawless. The luster shines, the details pop, and the coin becomes more than currency. It becomes an artifact, a testament to survival and meticulous preservation. The competition for these coins can be intense. Collectors understand that opportunity is fleeting, and when a perfect example appears, it rarely stays in one hand for long. Bidding reflects not just the coin's rarity, but the recognition of decades of history preserved in metal. It is a blend of appreciation, admiration, and strategic desire that drives the market for such high-grade quarters. The story of the 1990 Washington quarter is also a story of patience rewarded. A coin like this reminds collectors that dedication pays off, that knowledge and vigilance can transform a routine search through circulation into a remarkable discovery. And when that rare coin finally finds its way into the hands of the right collector, its significance is fully realized. Finally, after years of careful collecting, searching, and anticipation, one such exceptional 1990 Washington quarter recently made headlines. The coin, graded in near-perfect condition and admired by collectors for its sharp details and pristine surfaces, achieved a record-setting sale at auction. Its final price captured the imagination of collectors everywhere, illustrating how a seemingly ordinary coin can carry extraordinary value. This remarkable 1990 quarter sold for $66,000, a testament to its rarity, condition, and the enduring fascination collectors have with coins that have survived the tests of time. Its story proves that even the most common-looking coins can hide incredible treasures, waiting for the observant and dedicated to bring them to light. Moving on to the 1997 Washington quarter from the Denver Mint, this coin might look like the ones we all use in our daily lives, yet it holds a secret that only careful collectors understand. At first glance, it's easy to pass by, assuming it's just another quarter among millions. But for those who know what to look for, this coin is a gem, rare, valuable, and a perfect example of how ordinary currency can hold extraordinary potential. What makes the 1997 quarter so special isn't its design, which is familiar to generations of Americans, but its state of preservation. George Washington's portrait on the obverse remains timeless, while the reverse eagle carries the classic symbolism of strength and freedom. Yet it's the details, the crispness of the strikes, the sharpness of the edges, the smoothness of the fields, that set certain examples apart from the countless quarters that have worn down through decades of circulation. By 1997, quarters were everywhere. They passed through countless hands, from cash registers to vending machines, from pockets to piggy banks. Most suffered scratches, scuffs, and fading, slowly losing the luster that once made them shine. But a rare few survived, untouched and flawless, carrying the brilliance of a coin that just left the mint. These survivors are the ones that collectors seek, coins that combine history, artistry, and scarcity into a single piece of metal. Collectors understand that true rarity isn't just about how many coins were minted. It's about how many have survived in exceptional condition. The 1997 quarter is a perfect illustration of this. Millions were made, yet the high-grade specimens are extremely limited. To find one is to uncover a piece of history, a coin that endured the decades without losing its original beauty. Each one tells a story, not of circulation, but of preservation, of careful handling, and of luck that allowed it to remain pristine. This coin also reminds collectors why the hunt is so rewarding. It's a challenge to spot a high-grade 1997 among the many quarters that have circulated for years. The sharpness of Washington's profile, the defined details of the eagle, the untouched fields, all these factors combine to transform a simple piece of currency into a collectible treasure. It's a reminder that rarity often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge and patience to recognize its true value. The allure of this quarter goes beyond just its appearance. It represents the intersection of history and chance. Each flawless 1997 D quarter is a glimpse into the past, a tangible connection to a moment in time when coins were minted to endure. It also reflects the care of those who preserved it, whether knowingly or by chance, allowing future collectors to appreciate its perfection. Collectors often describe the excitement of discovering such a coin as incomparable. Imagine rifling through a stack of quarters, and suddenly one shines brighter, its details crisper, its surfaces flawless. That moment of recognition, realizing that this ordinary-looking coin is, in fact, rare and valuable, is at the heart of why collectors search diligently year after year. The 1997 D Washington quarter embodies all of these qualities. Its design, while familiar, comes alive in high-grade condition. The luster, the sharpness, the flawless surfaces, it all combines to create a coin that is not just currency, but a collectible with story, significance, and appeal. It's a reminder that the extraordinary often hides within the ordinary, and that careful observation can uncover remarkable treasures. And now, after exploring its history, its design, and its rarity, we reach the moment every collector waits for: the coin's value. A 1997 D Washington quarter that has survived decades in exceptional condition is no longer just a quarter, it is a prized collectible with significant worth. Its current value is $59,000, a figure that highlights not just its scarcity, but the admiration and desire it inspires among collectors. This value reflects more than just numbers. It represents the coin's story, its endurance, and the meticulous care that allowed it to survive. It shows that even the most common-looking coins can hold extraordinary potential when preserved in top condition. The 1997 D quarter serves as a reminder that treasure can be found in unexpected places, and that the thrill of coin collecting lies in discovering these hidden gems. Owning a coin like this is about connection, to history, to artistry, and to the countless collectors who have appreciated its beauty over the years. It's a testament to the excitement of discovery and the rewards of patience. And while many 1997 quarters may remain everyday change, the high-grade Denver Mint examples stand as shining reminders that exceptional coins can transform into extraordinary treasures when they endure the tests of time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next journey into the world of rare and valuable coins. Thank you so much for watching. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, every coin has a story waiting to be discovered.